Anyway, I've been going on, so I add in a lot of these little tips along the way, but it tends up make the video longer, and I lose most of the people, I think. The diehards, if you're here and if you're still here, put a comment in the. Better still get the book, because you're going to learn a hell of a lot in this course, right? And I look around at other videos to get the information to give to you. And I can see if there's anything useful, I can see from what other people are doing, right? I might include it in my book even, or I'll create exercises if I find it useful. But I find a lot of people teaching piano, they're doing, I wouldn't say the wrong things. Sometimes they're doing things like, for instance, even the big channels, right? The big channels. They try to make it really simple. And this is all right, if you're here, this isn't, I'll be catering for, simplicity. I'm trying to, but it's complex, This is the academic approach towards learning music. So one of the channels will say, to find the A, they were counting, to get there. Just go, now start off doing this. Just go C, D, E, F to find there. And this is a big channel telling you to do this. And I would never, ever tell my students to find that, just count from C up, right? The first thing you need to do is go to lesson 1 and learn your notes, right? You need to visualise them. You need to close your eyes. You need to visualise the keyboard, and you need to be able to say the note instantly, right? That's the first thing you have to do. If you can't do that, right, you might as well just go and make a pizza or something. But that's something you need to do, That's the first thing. It's mundane. Oh, I know all the notes. Someone will say, I know all the notes. Well, can you close your eyes, visualise it, and say all the notes? Can you say every note backwards? Can you say every major key backwards? Just try it. So you're going to visualise it, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A. So that's the A scale, I close my eyes, I visualise it, then I say it. And I'm just reading what I'm visualising. If you can do that, then you know your notes. And not only you know your notes, you know all your scales as well. And you have to know all your scales, right? And that's what this system is doing. Once you do a bit of the hard work at the beginning, things get easier and easier and easier and easier and easier. There's a bit of a hump. There's always a hump with learning anything. But you get to that point, you get over that hump, and then the learning is incredible. And it's fun. The humps going up the hill is hard work, it's not that exciting, But once you reach that hump and you get over the hump, and then the learning is a pleasure, it becomes so pleasurable, and it's because you're not struggling anymore to read that piece of sheet music. You're not going, oh, And that killed me as a kid when I was learning. To try to start a child off on sheet music, I would never do that. I'd never do that, because you're gonna kill their motivation, and that's the worst thing. The worst thing. Get them to be creative. It's creativity, right? I always felt that there's like 2 types of people in the world. People want to be told what to do, and people that want to discover and create. I'm like creative. Don't be someone just wants to be told what to do all the time, right? There's merit in learning there's a lot of merit in the approach of learning with sheet music. Now it's a sheet music rant. There's a lot of merit. Take the good things, right? And it's not a war between people who read sheet music and people who play by ear and know by theory. It's not a war. You can both learn off each other, right? And sheet music's good for archiving. It's good for archiving. It's good for patterns too. Working out what people have done and then looking what they've done and write down the patterns using the Akousunesis method. You write down the patterns. You'll really understand now what the sheet music. And when someone's learning to sight read, for instance, you can get good at anything. Right? You can get real good at sight reading. But what are you doing in your head? A lot of the people with sight reading, they're breaking it down into chords in their head. That's one. They're creating a whole lot of memory associations to help them read, right? So doesn't become just a translation, eyes, Initially when a child's learning, it's just the translation of notes to finger movements, right? And they're not making any other connections, like they don't know a lot of the theory. Oh, and you have to wait till you get to grade 8 or whatever before you can actually start to understand the theory. You get introduced to it, a chord here and there. I'm not going to get a job in a classical. I've been trying to get work. Like I want to get into a classical conservatorium and teach some of this stuff. I think I'm killing my chances. But anyway, I got nothing against that approach. Well, I do. I have a few gripes about the classical approach. Right, so I do have a lot of gripes towards it. But it doesn't mean you can't work together. I love classical music. I play classical music and I look at it, but I break it down into chords and interval patterns. So I can be freer over it. I'm not just stuck to playing what's exactly. I know some people just want to hear exactly how, but you never know exactly how a composer played anything. You never know. How do you know that Mozart? They didn't even have the modern piano for a start, and I don't think it was equal temperament tuning either. When they were playing, Mozart was playing a lot of those classicals weren't even the tuning we have. How do we know how it actually sound? And then you're writing it on a piece of paper. The piece of paper is a translation. Even Mozart itself, even you have his original transcripts, right? You have them. But he's limited, right? He can't write down exactly how he plays, right? It's quantized. He's writing down quantized information on a sheet, and then we pass it on for someone to interpret. Now, if we had a recording of Mozart playing, or any of the classical composers playing, that would be fantastic. That is the ultimate archive, is to actually have the recording, an audio recording of them playing. You'd have everything there, right? And so all we have on the classical is translations, and quantized translations, and we're getting everyone to learn from quantized translations. Quantizing means exactly on beat. You divide it down right down to the beat, and you try to chop it up, But you need to feel when that beat comes in, especially melodic rhythm, I can just listen to a song and play the melodic rhythm, right? And I'm not 100% sure if I'm doing a semiquaver or a quaver. I mean, I can quantize it to that. I can write it down and quantize it and say, okay, well, yeah, it's a semiquaver, and it's just coming in here, and it's quaver, blah, blah, blah. And I could do all that. But it's not how you play it. You play it by your ear. That note might come in a little bit earlier, a little bit later, and it's a lot of it when you're playing with lyrics. It's going to match the word too, isn't it? It's going to be the syllable of the word, and you might drag that word on a bit longer, the note on a little bit longer. You might be a bit quicker, it might be longer. All this you're going to learn in the Akousunesis method. But you need to, I won't answer emails unless you join the club. And the entry fee is $25. That's it, Australian dollars. It's as cheap as chips, and you can ask me questions. And it's a living document, meaning any new techniques I discover, because I'm learning too. I never stop learning. I'll put into the book. I've already got a revision coming. I've corrected a couple of things. I'm adding a few things, and I'm also putting links. I'm putting links in the book to YouTube channels now. I'm starting to do that. So you're going to get a lot of revisions of part 1. So purchase the book now, go through it, start reading it, and then when I have a revision, I'll just highlight what I've changed, and you can go and have a look at the revision. It becomes a reference manual at the end of the day, the book. So you go through it, but a lot of the times you'll go back to information, and it'll make more sense once the big picture it all connects, because music's got a lot of relationships, right? It's all related. Circle of fifths, it all comes around itself, and it's all relation. There's all relations, and it makes more sense when you go back and revisit the information. But the information's just not information to put on the side. It's information you can take, and it goes to your fingers, and goes to your fingers to be able to play. I'm not just putting information that's not useful to your playing. Right? You're not going to get every definition in my book. You're not going to get every single definition for every single musical term there possibly is. If you want that, just go to the internet. It's just the information you need to get you playing and listening to the melody, working it out, and then listening for chords. Where do those chords fit inside the key? Right? Ear, theory, understanding, and then you play it. Right? So that's it. Anyway, I've gone on and on. I think I've got... When will we start to learn songs, Con? Okay, thank you, Con. Finally at the question and answers. All right, so the first thing you got to do before you start to learn other people's songs, and we will get to that, don't worry. You need to know all your chords, right? You're not going to get around that. Now, I'm going to show you a way to create chords in real time very quickly, right? And you're first going to learn all your default chords in your Western major scale, right? You're going to learn all those. In all the keys, you're going to learn them, right? And you'll go through it. The way you'll go through it is you're going to start with the key of C, right? And then you're going to move to the next chord, and then back to the main chord. And you're going to always let it flow. You're going to let it flow, right? And you'll be listening for the intervals. And then you'll be noting, okay, I'm going to go to D minor now. And you'll be mucking around with little melody patterns over those chords, right? And you go back to C, and then you go to E. And then D, right? So we're going to progress slowly up and down, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and add it that way. And then once you get good at just serially just adding it like that, then we can do jumps, and do chord sequences, chord progressions, and different types of chord progressions. So chords, and just remember them. The first step is to learn and create the default chords here. So I've said everything from here. Show you how to do this in upcoming videos. Yep. I also recommend, there's a platform on the internet called chordify.net. So I've got the link there. And I'm giving them a plug, even though they didn't give me a free subscription. I wanted one. But I'll give them a plug anyway, because I've been using them for a long time. So they bring up you can search a YouTube song, and it will bring the chords up. And what this is going to do for you, what you'll do with this site is you'll play along with the chords. You won't be playing the melody. You won't be thinking about the melody. So what you're trying to do with this is chord recognition and timing. So you just follow the chords and you just muck around and get the timing. So it develops your timing so you can play with other people and play to the song and you get your chords. So it's a great app to muck around with, right? And you can start with your favourite songs. And it's fun too. It's a lot of fun. And you'll get better at it and better at it the more you do. And you'll get just flowing with your chords. I spent years with Chordify, and I became with Chordify, I can bring up any song on YouTube that I've never seen. As long as it's got the chords, I hit play, and I can play along to it. I was doing that on Twitch for a while, but then now I'm focusing on teaching now and creating this YouTube channel. God, I've been going on a lot. All right, next lesson, lesson 10, we're going to learn the F. So we're going to go around the circle fifths the other direction, anti-clockwise, and we'll finish up all those keys. All right. That's it. I'll see you next lesson. Thanks for listening to this. I think I put in a lot of information in this video, but I'm not sure who's still here. If you're still here, you're a freaking superstar, right? And amazing. All right. See you next lesson. Bye.